Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Home Staging Talk Show Live. I'm Jenny Norris, your host and the chairwoman of the International Association of Home Staging Professionals. Home Staging Talk Show Live is brought to you by IHOSP, and it's an ongoing conversation within the home staging industry and other peripheral industries to help us succeed and learn and overcome challenges and share things that are working. So I appreciate you joining us today. We've got a great show for you. I have two wonderful ladies that we love hearing from, JoAnne Lenart and Sandra Racz, and we're going to talk about cashing in on color and decorating, which is going to be very exciting. So before we get to hear from them, I just got a few quick announcements. First of all, I announced this last week, so we're going to hopefully encourage this movement, Stager Wednesday, and then hashtag raise the standard. Also, hashtag stage with a pro is the other hashtag I want to promote. Hashtag stage with a pro. And so those of you that are staging today, use that hashtag Stager Wednesday, raise the standard, and stage with a pro. And let's start getting some visibility on Wednesdays for that. And thank you to Andrea Faber for that great idea. Of course, we are finished our conference and we're right on the heels of the next one. We had less than a year to plan this one, so we're already promoting it. Those of you that were in the conference or at the conference 2019 in Nashville, you do have a special price that only you get until November 30th. So that is, what's today? The 13th, 17 days away. Then that special is going to end and you're going to be having regular pricing like everybody else for the priority ticket, which is the new VIP terminology. And so don't wait to get your ticket and secure that pricing. And you were all sent a special code. For some reason you didn't get that, you can just easily email me, jenny@ihosp.com, and I can send that to you. So we're really excited about Denver. It's going to be a great event. We're already planning things, and I just sent out a survey. You should be getting that. It should go at about 10. Well, it probably went out at 9 a.m. our time, Mountain Standard Time. It went out at 10 a.m. Central. So it's a survey, a follow-up survey for the conference, asking you to help us with feedback, things you want to hear about, topics you want to learn about, things to help us get better. I already know about the food situation, and I did get a credit back for that salad the second day with the big chunks of chicken and the food that ran out. So I already know all about that stuff, and although some of that stuff's out of my control as far as what happens actually at the hotels, but the content, the scheduling and so forth, we're looking at not cramming so much in so there's more breathing room. However, we also want to provide you with important education where we can dive deep into topics, not just be at the surface. I don't want to just learn what, I want to learn how. And that's really important for our attendees. And so help us out, turn that in. And when you do, we're going to email you a code that will give you an additional benefit off your ticket for 2020. So we also, of course, are going to be in Portugal, Lisbon, Portugal. And I thought I had that. Yeah, it's right here. Lisbon, Portugal. So there's beautiful Lisbon. I look at that and I just think of the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, the same structure, but it's just beautiful. And so that will be May 23rd in Europe, Lisbon, Portugal. The 24th will be an optional session for consultation and communication. That will be the designation they're giving away there, or issuing, not giving away. It will be purchased by people who want to learn that, and that will be taught on May 24th. So take advantage of being able to go to Europe. And I don't see anybody making any comments, so hopefully we're live. Okay. One of you guys could check to make sure that we're actually streaming on Facebook. It says it's working, so hopefully it is. Maybe people are just sleeping today. Okay, so, and then here's our logo. So, of course, our theme is Vision for Success, Focus, Clarity, and Future. So we're going to carry that theme through 2020 with different events that we're going to be doing. And so, it seems like a natural theme because 2020 vision is your eyesight. So, okay, we are live. Yay, thanks, JoAnne. So people are just waking up, I guess, and hopefully they'll see us streaming. But I love the theme, and we're going to carry that theme throughout 2020 with different things that we're doing. And so make sure to get your ticket. We also are offering a one-third option to help save. So if you can lock that in now, and then your next payment wouldn't be due until January 1st, and then the final would be April 1st, and we might actually extend that ability for the 1/3 payments. And so I'm just really looking forward to, as we turn the corner, we're here in the fall. Gosh, Thanksgiving is just around the corner. And so, and then before you know it, it'll be Christmas. I was at the the HSRA conference in Dallas last weekend, and we checked in on Thursday, and by the time we checked out Sunday, the Christmas trees were up and it was being decorated for the holidays, which I know, Sandra, you were sharing. You have a course on that, actually. And so I don't know how much these people got paid to do it, but at least they were efficient. They were pretty quick about how they got the things set up. But then it'll be 2020 before we know it. And so we've got some great things planned for 2020. iHosp actually has a calendar of events now that's on our site. You can go check that out. I'll be sending out links to everybody on social media and so forth. But we'll have all of our events that we're going to be doing, including the market tours, any places that we have special education events that we're planning to attend, like Inman will be there in January, probably July as well. We'll be sponsoring an event there. And then we'll be doing some other educational things as well. So you want to check that to see where we're going to be, and then participate, join in, and be part of the education that's happening in 2020 to help you advance your businesses. So the market tour in January in Las Vegas, that tickets are on sale for that right now. That is going to be the 27th of January, and it's only $300 per ticket, which is a lot less than the others because we don't want to gouge people and make it seem like it's a big money maker. It does help offset travel and the coordination time it takes to put all that together and to contact all of our vendors and to get that set up. But those of you that haven't attended a market and learned how to shop the different vendors and so forth, it is important because it's overwhelming. So it's nice to have a guide. And then, of course, all of our vendors give us special pricing that is not available to just a designer or a stager walking in on their own. You'll get a wholesale price or designer price, but you're not going to get the prices that we get as an association because we have negotiated much deeper discounts and other promotional incentives. So definitely look for those. That's the iHosp Wholesale Buying Program. That's iHosp, IAHSP, W, B as in boy, P as in program.com. You can learn about it there. And we want you to join us. We can teach you what to do so you can start saving money instead of buying retail. Okay, so I wanted to share this as well. So when I attended the conference, an HSRA's conference, they did give me this, which was really nice. Top Industry Innovator of the Year, totally unexpected. So thank you, HSRA, for that honor. And then we also received a Achievement Award, Advanced Level for Education. Let's put that here. So 100 real estate and staging industry continuing ed credits. So they have a program where you can accumulate credits and get recognized for that. So anyway, learning is really important. So make sure to reserve the dates. Like right now, block out September 25th, 26th, 27th on your calendars. And that way you won't schedule anything over it. Any events we have coming up, anything you want to participate in, it's important to make that a priority. And to me, education and learning how to make money trumps, a client begging me to come and do something, and being able to get away for a few days to learn is really important. So there'll be lots of opportunities in 2020 for you to learn specific niche skills and services like we're going to talk about today, to advance your education, whether it's the master's course or one of the advanced stager training things we're going to be doing, the market tours. So there's lots of opportunities to learn. And so we just encourage you to take advantage of that because our industry is evolving. I have correspondence in for some of the regulatory things that are happening in California, have reached out, want to have a conversation with people in that state about what's happening with the independent contractors versus employees, how that impacts us because they have not identified stagers, designers, decorators, any of that. They haven't exempted. And however, they exempted hairdressers, attorneys, of course, managed to get themselves exempted. Architects, real estate agents, they're all part of the exemption, but they never even bothered to identify our industry. So that's a concern, and that's something that we need to work on. And so as an association, we are reaching out to the people in California that actually created the law and to see where we would fall. And so because we definitely should have an exemption for that new thing that goes into effect January 1st. So just know that we're working on that. And those of you that are watching, if that's a concern, I know that a lot of you reached out to me when it was first announced. And there's been some talk about how you can't have independent contractors and so forth. And we'll get down to the bottom of it and get the information to provide to you, and you'll be able to make decisions for your business. So there are exemptions, And I believe in many cases, staging would qualify depending on how you have your business structured. So with that, I am going to bring on our guests. I'm going to bring you in both at the same time. So here is wonderful JoAnne Lenart and Sandra Racz. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning.
It's always fun to talk to you guys. Okay, I got to put myself in the frame here. All right, so I don't have my head cut off. Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm doing my nails as we speak.
And I was going to do my hair when I.
You guys look great. So, JoAnne, do you glue your nails on, or are you painting them?
No, these are press-on nails because I have a client later. So I have to pretend that I know what I'm doing. So here I go. Well, I better not show you which finger isn't done, but there, I just got it done. And now I have nails. So
you look great. I'm mostly afraid those are going to go flying off.
Now, as long as you don't go bowling, you're pretty much okay. But I did do it one time bowling, and my fingernails, there were 3 of them down the lane. But anyway, instant fix. I just staged my fingers.
That's great. Looks awesome. Well, good morning to both of you. And I know I had you on last week, JoAnne, and we talked about other things besides your color course. I wanted to have you back on because we were talking about cashing in on color and decorating. And some other ideas that we're going to cover for people that want to get into that side of the business more. We always talk about having, not just one service that you focus on as a stager. The resale market, there's people saying right now, some of the markets are dead, real estate wise. They're in transition. People are concerned about not having a lot of calls coming in. So anytime that happens, you need to market yourself differently. And one of the niche services that you can carve out would be decorating, color, things like that. That's a natural fit for us. And so let's talk about cashing in on color and decorating.
Yeah, I mean, that is a great point. In fact, just yesterday, I had one of Sandra and my former students contact me, and she said she's in Toronto, and she said for whatever reason, she has a very strong staging business, but she said, I'm doing very little right now. What can I do? So we talked about the one-day decorating service, which we've talked about some at iHouse. For me, one-day decorating was a huge part of my business all of these years because it led to so many other opportunities and services. So yes, Sandra and I had done a webinar not too long ago that 3 is the key. Have those 3 primary revenue streams. So when one is down, you can promote the other. And Sandra, you as well. Redesign is a service you use. Has been very good to you in life.
It really has. And go ahead.
I was going to say, how would you can go ahead and share, but I was going to say, how would you guys differentiate redesign versus decorating? So when people hear those terms, are they the same? How do they differ?
Well, redesign truly is using what they have. We always say we can make that kind of not so great sofa look better and sometimes amazing by that placement, that system that we follow, but by using their items, their furnishings, but using them in a very stylish, following the guidelines that, let's face it, not everybody could do, or that homeowner would have already done it. So, and that's where they love you because, oh my gosh, where was that? I didn't even know I had that. And you start to see collections that they have around their home. So, and like JoAnne was just saying, how the industry and the market can shift and the demand for a service. I found when the economy shifted, and I got all ready, this was, back in 2008, I thought, I'm really going to suffer like everybody else was suffering, whatever the industry. And I got busier and I thought, how is this happening? But, even let's say your design or your clients that would be willing to spend more money, they still want that facelift. So they would be willing to call you to say, hey, I can't afford a new sofa, but I just need a change. I need, my spirits lifted, so to speak, in this space. And so that's where redesign is a great revenue stream because it gives them that peace of mind that you're not going to upcharge them to the point they're not comfortable. And then that one day decorating, which JoAnne coined that term way back when, you still get that surprise element, and you might bring in a few items, but it's efficient. You still have that, oh my gosh, I kept the majority of my things. You can bring in a lamp, a piece of art, again, your expertise in tweaking it. But I wanted to say too, whatever revenue streams you add those services, they have to kind of line up with what you like to do.
Right.
I like seasonal decorating, but truthfully, when you get super busy, I'm doing good to get my own tree up.
Right.
So I mean, so the only clients that got the benefit of my seasonal decorating services were my regular clients. So then it almost became that, oh, okay, good. Nobody, all right, great. Your tree, you're going to do my tree and I don't have to worry about it, kind of thing. So it kind of worked to my advantage when I got busy and got selective with who I was giving that service to.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that is important to keep in mind is, I think a lot of times when people think of the one-day decorating service, they think, well, it's kind of like the cheap way out. And I have had one-day decorating projects that the clients spend $10,000 to $20,000 for that space. The key difference is that you turn it around more quickly. There may be more retail shopping than wholesale shopping, or in my case, I had a retail store and a design studio. So much of what I placed in my client's home came out of my own inventory. So as you talk about going to the market and getting access, I would go and know that art was something that was always difficult to find. Organics were always difficult to find. So I always made sure that I had a nice stockpile that I could refer to. So now I wasn't only charging for my time, I was making product sales as well. And yes, some of it may have come from, Pier 1 or Home Goods or wherever it may be to supplement, but I tried to implement as much of my own product as I could. I even carried a line of ready-made draperies. I love Martha and Ash is one company that I love. It's a mom and daughter team. I met them when they took the color class, and they do a line of semi-custom window treatments. So all of you could go online and order them. Jenny, you might want to reach out to them. I see her writing it down. Talk to Martha and order their samples. They'll send you a little sample kit. And so there's a very quick turnaround time. The other thing is, when many of my one-day decorating clients ended up doing custom window treatments. And so when you think about one-day decorating, I think one of the biggest things is, yes, I like what Sandra's saying with the money, but there's just that immediacy. I think the biggest difference between redesign, one-day decorating, and full service design, your clients are going to approve every step along the way. One-day decorating and redesign, they get that move that bus moment. So you have to be prepared to say, if there's something they don't like, you can return it. I would do returns at no charge one time. But quite honestly, if you've been in the business for any time and you listen to the client, your return rate is going to be minimal. Don't you agree, Sandra?
Well, absolutely. And having that client consultation form, knowing those questions, even if it's a one-day decorating or a redesign, if you've asked those questions, then your return rate is going to be really low too, because you kind of know what they're going for, right, and what your color story is. I know we're talking about color in just a few minutes, but that's where color plays a big part, because it could be a gorgeous lamp or a gorgeous rug, the right size, everything fits. But if the colors are wrong, you're schlepping that big, heavy rug back. And so that's where color does play a really big part in the redesign and decorating, and not, as well as picking out, whatever colors for the wall, those big ticket items.
Right. And also in one-day decorating, and then I'll let you, Jenny, I see Jenny's mouth and she's like, God, I'm with JoAnne and Sandra. Am I going to get a word in here? But the other thing I want you to think about is the one-day decorating process You begin with an initial consultation. You charge for that consultation. I often will select paint colors. We set up a date for me to come back to do the final install. In that 10-day to 2-week time period, they are going to repaint the room if it is needed. So this is going beyond redesign, where it is very much about, that quick fix using what they have. So in levels of cost, redesign would be the next step after a consultation as far as fee. 1-day decorating goes up in price. So this is very, very well-rounded. It's just the turnaround time is more quick.
So when people are working with wanting to, refresh their homes, so let's say that they think they want to sell, the market is wonky, so then they don't get an offer, and maybe we're going to wait till the spring, or we're going to rent it out, or we're going to stay put for 2 years. To me, that's the ideal client, that they want to make some changes, but they don't want to go like, crazy, because they know they're out of there in a year or so. So finding those clients, how do you market yourself to get the business? Because we go through the real estate agents typically for the staging side. Is that a good fit for staying put, or how are you marketing yourself to get the business? I know we talked about some of this at the AST.
Well, I think one of the things, like, for example, my student that I talked to yesterday, I said to her, right now, you're going to shift all of your social media kind of thing to instant makeover kind of ideas to position yourself as the expert. So if you want to do this, and what a perfect time of year, people are looking around their house and saying, oh my God, my family's coming. I didn't realize my walls look that bad and the sofa looks stained. So this is a perfect time of year to make money with this service. So go online and start promoting things like, let's talk about, 30 minutes in your room. Tell them what to do. And that's the biggest thing Sandra and I run into. People are afraid to give it away, but position yourself as that instant gratification, a king or queen. So now when you start pitching and, so talk about an idea and then say, and by the way, if you want more help than that, ask about our 1-day decorating service. So skew your marketing to have that instant gratification mindset while you're doing your blog, your social media, and of course, everyone knows I love and believe in public speaking.
What about, talk about pricing? You talked about the initial. I love that the initial appointment is paid, because anytime we give our ideas away, our idea, God, I can't even talk. Ideas, that's pronounced correctly. I was up at like 4:30 this morning. The cat was bugging me, and then I just never went back to sleep, so my brain is fried. Anytime we give our ideas, we want to be paid for that. So never be giving it away any of that's your value. So when we think like, well, it's not a big deal to cough up a paint color, do these different things. The reason that people ask us for that is because they don't know what to do, and you have an eye for it, and then you can train and get more knowledge as far as specifically what to do with the 1-day decorating service and for color and the redesign side. People often ask, should I leave it open-ended? So I just had a guy that called me. He's a bachelor, moved into a new condo, needs some help with furnishings and paint and so forth. How do I work? Well, for me, I always like to keep it, give a lump sum, clearly define the scope of work, give them a price, because I don't like open-ended. Even when I hire people, I don't want to open-ended because I don't know what I'm going to be paying for. And if they're like slow as molasses, then I'm like feeling stressed, like they're just taking too long versus when it's clearly defined. So is that the way to go for the decorating and the redesign as well?
Sandra, you want to speak to that?
Sure. So I'm like you, Jenny. I hate open-ended. I always lose on open-ended, it seems like. And so I have a philosophy, and I've kind of kept it over the years. And to be honest, I am going to reevaluate that. But I have always charged by the hour. And the reason is where it helps you in the beginning if you're starting out. You can charge by the room, and then that you're not penalizing your clients for your learning curve. However, as you have been in the business a long time and we're working fast, oh my gosh, I could have made more money if I had charged by the job or by the project. So the thing that I do like is in that just happened this weekend, I have clients from Park City that have moved here. I have them for staging. I have them for decorating their Park City house. And now I have them for decorating their Scottsdale house. So the thing is, they don't want to make a decision without me, kind of thing. So that's where you really become a value. You're their go-to person. That stream is continuous, which whatever you price, you'll want a continuous stream. So I have always charged by the hour, whether I'm shopping. In the beginning, I had a little bit cheaper shopping rate because I thought, well, this is just too much fun. I can't believe I'm getting paid this to shop. But then I thought my time is my time. If I'm not shopping for them, I could be making more money doing something else. So I charge an hourly rate. That way, if Mr. and Miss Homeowner can't make their mind up when we're at the furniture store this weekend, then I'm still getting paid. If the middle of it, we want to go to lunch and it's their idea, I'm still getting paid. So that's kind of how I had done it. And it worked out good for multiple services. No matter what it is, if it's me, that's what, you get. So, and then product markup, that is huge. I just do want to throw that in there.
And now I charge flat rate. So you're looking at both ends of the spectrum here because for me, it's just easier. So for anyone that is offering the service, what I encourage you to do is have some kind of beginning at price rate on your website, on your marketing. So if you have that simple room, so in my market, my beginning at rate is $4.95. In that $4.95, I'm going to be very clear about what they get. That is going to include 1 hour of my shopping time. I know that I can put that room together in probably 2 hours. So I'm looking at about 3 to 4 hours, including shopping. I do tell them anything that goes in beyond that scope of services, then there will be an additional charge. But I found, because I've done this for so long and I am so fast at it, that charging by the hour, I was shooting myself in the foot. And Sandra and I just had this conversation yesterday. So by charging that flat rate, I can, if I get done with the job sooner, I get done with the job sooner. If it takes me a little longer, then that's on me. If I need to bring someone in, then that's going to be an upcharge. If I walk into the room and it's a 24 by 30 family room and one wall is all bookcases, that's going to be more money. So my starting at rate is going to be that traditional, 12 by 18 living room with a sofa, a love seat, couple of chairs, and 4 case goods in it. As Sandra said, then also there is the profit on product. Please quit giving your client your discounts. I know this is something that's debated over and over again, but you cannot make a living on hourly alone. You have to make money on product. So if you go to Pier 1 and you get a 20% discount, that does not go to your client. No, you do not give your client the store receipts. Our budget setting system is different. We've created something called the comfort zone shopping, which Jenny, you've heard me speak about before. But basically, the client knows. I know if the client is comfortable with a $10,000 sofa or a $1,000 sofa. So before we even go, we've established where they sit at, and so the invoice that they get is going to be based on that comfort zone pricing and what they charge. So if I go to Pier 1, they give me 20% off and I made $200, my client's still going to get an invoice for $1,000. That's what they would pay if they walked in the door without me.
And so what about if they don't, so this always goes like, and I totally agree, like the flat rate, getting paid time is your time is your time. I'm so glad to hear you guys say that. And the question that people probably pop up, but what if they go, I don't like that sofa, it needs to be returned. Do you do the returns? And if they want to see the receipts, I mean, if they go, well, we want to write it off, but I guess they don't get to write off the service of decorating their house because it's not for sale. So that doesn't ever come into play, right?
And they still have a receipt. They have your receipt. And on that receipt, it's going to say 1 sofa, 1 chair, 1. So they have a receipt. And when a client will say, where did you find this at? My usual response is, oh my God, Mary, I shop at so many places. I don't remember.
And furniture stores will give you 2 receipts. If it is like a full service furniture store, they'll give your client one, and then they'll give you the receipt that reflects your pricing. But guys, you sometimes have to ask if you say, how do you work with your to the trade program? And you can say, are you going to generate 2 receipts? And that's not to be, you need your own copy, but that gives them their copy. You, again, have found the sofa, had the relationships. So that's kind of, you just have to ask.
And my rule of thumb has always been, if a product is going to be $1,000 or more, that is something the client will pre-approve. So like Sandra, over the weekend, she took her client shopping so they could do the sit test on the sofa. So there isn't a problem there. So if it's a bigger ticket item, I will say to them, I want you to meet me at blah, blah, blah. So that, you can do that. But as I said, if it's another return, if it's a piece of art or something, I will do 1 return at no charge.
And I do want to add this too, guys, because that was a good point, JoAnne. This weekend, my clients wanted to finance. So they now are establishing. So they got, because of the way the store was established, and it is a big store, when they did the financing, the discount that they got because of me went to them, which was small, but it was a discount. And they were thrilled, like, oh my gosh, Sandra, this is great. You've already paid for yourself, all those good things. Sometimes you can't get around it.
Right.
So one of the things that you can do is that consider what you're getting for your time. And then the other thing is, if you have established, you can say a 20% markup on anything that is purchased. That way I would get 20% off of that 16,000. So that's what we spent. And that's kind of how you can do it. Either one of those ways, but you can't hit them with, oh, that'll be another 20% if you haven't covered that before, checkout.
Which is important. So establishing all of that up front when you first engage with somebody, because nobody likes surprises. I think most people are reasonable, but you don't want to come and go, oh, by the way, you owe me X amount because of X, Y, Z. And so, and I mean, even picking out fixtures and plumbing and so forth, there was a colleague that she would purchase all that, get paid for her time, and she didn't provide any of the receipts because it was her time to be able to do that. And so one of the things we have to get confident on is our expertise. So it's we're not trading time for dollars once you become efficient. And I mean, I think it was probably last year that I had you talk on this, JoAnne, or you shared somewhere where it's like, just because you're new doesn't mean you can charge more. Because you're inefficient. And as you get faster, you'll get better, and then your time is justified. You'll be on par with everybody else. And so we think like we're not trading time for dollars, even though we do use our hourly rate to calculate things. You're being paid for your expertise. So just because you're faster doesn't mean you should earn less. Right. And just because you're slower necessarily doesn't mean you should earn more. So it should be on par.
Right. I think for any service-driven business, my son, has been a dairy farmer for 20 years, and we all know what's happening to the dairy industry. And a year ago, he sold his house. And he started a handyman business, and he started out doing hourly pricing. He was doing free estimates. And I said to him, you need to step away from that model. You need a minimum price for you going out, and you need to start pricing by the job. And the fact that you're new, you're going to lose sometimes, and it'll learn. You'll learn, but by pricing by the project, the client knows you're, like you say, that open-ended thing is frightening. So what I think is wonderful about the redesign and the one-day decorating service, oftentimes I think people start with staging because they love houses, but they don't feel that they have the expertise yet to give design information or advice. So this is a great way for you to get your feet wet and start doing it and allow to think a little bit more on your feet. And then it can expand into more. Now, Sandra's clients were really kind of a combination of traditional design and one day decorating. Sandra created a design board for them. Do you have that there, Sandra?
You know what? I'm going to show you what it looks like blank first.
Cool.
Can y'all see that? So, and again, you put your own logo, everything you do, guys. My theory is, and JoAnne and Jenny and I always feel this way, they can't forget about you. Your name is plastered on their forehead, on, you know,
Yeah.
everything. So brand everything, even if it takes a little bit of time. So I just thought I would kind of show you.
Sandra, could you hold that up again and put a little closer to your camera so everyone can see it, kind of move it, okay?
To the client goes on the top, and then the project.
The project.
And the date.
So if you're fortunate enough to be doing the entire home, you could have one of these for every room. So, you know, we could all do PowerPoints in our sleep. So these clients, well, heck, I might as well show you that if I can put my hand on it. Oh, yeah. So I did a preliminary, and you can see my scribbles on it. So it is branded, and then I had their name. So before we started shopping, let me just show you. Because I am translating it now, of which I get paid by the hour. So I had our list of what we needed in every room. Then when we located it, I just jotted it down, and I also snapped a photo. That way, when we got home, I now will put that in its own little personal tear sheet, so to speak. And then I'll also have it per room. So I got paid to develop this before we went shopping. I got paid by the hour to shop. I now get paid by the hour to put this back together, to order the blinds, to order the. So that's how it works. So I like what I can't remember if it was JoAnne or Jenny said about, you know, having that translation. One minute they may be a staging client, and when we staged their house, then decorated their new house, they were very, what JoAnne and I call those neutralized palettes. We knew which palettes that could work together. And keep in mind, he is colorblind. So which makes it always very interesting when, you know, we're asking his opinion. I'm like, wow. But anyway, this was their sofa.
Oh, nice.
This is their sofa. Okay. This is their pillow that they wanted. Can y'all see that?
Oh, nice. Mm-hmm.
Can you see we're definitely going more saturated in colors? And this is another pillow. So this became the accent chair.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a totally different color palette than what I would say that we would work with for our staging clients. But this, as I'm getting tangled up here. So then what you would do is you would go and you would find that color in here of these fabrics. You would put your color harmony together, and JoAnne's going to show you our nifty little book. You would attach them to the side, right on the edge, so you don't have anything distracting you. So then I'm not lugging these fabrics, of which I have to return, to the store to shop for additional pillows or any fabrics or anything that I'm just taking this to the store. I'm holding it up to the pillow and go, yeah, it works, or no, it doesn't. So, and again, every time they see me hold this up, they're like, oh my gosh, I would have never been able to put that together. Oh, look how much time we saved. Oh, so you then become so valuable to them, and they appreciate that I now give them this PowerPoint that is lined up with their design or concept board, however you want to refer to it. And the other plus, I don't know if I shared this with you guys last time, but I gave it to one of my clients recently, and she said, oh my gosh, I gave it to my insurance company. So it actually became a great record for her insurance. So that's where that service of, you know, we started out with staging, we turned into decorating. I actually got brought back, as JoAnne was talking about one day decorating, you know, you can come back just to add new accessories for the season. That's you're in and out in one day. You don't have to get the new furniture, but that's where your clients just, they love you, they trust you. They're willing to try, you know, something new with you. So that's kind of how it worked this weekend.
So when you say PowerPoint, are you actually giving them a computer PowerPoint?
Mm-hmm. I'm giving them a link to Dropbox. It's pages long. So just like I was saying, you could have one of these for every room. You could also, I'm going to put those fabrics. So like, I'll give you a good example. I actually laid out some kind of crazy rugs for them. And this was our pre-shopping day. I needed to know, now that you've got these saturated colors, how crazy are we going to go?
Right.
And so we ruled some out. We liked this one. We circled it and I scratched the others out. That way we have a reference. So when I put that room together, I'll put that sofa with actually those color swatches, and everything about that space is easy reference for them.
So while you were talking, I was thinking like, Trello boards, they're kind of like a whiteboard computerized with the sticky notes. And I've used them. I'm sure I'm not using them to their full capacity because I have to, read up on it. But my mind first was like, well, why can't we do that on the computer? But then as you're talking, having something tangible to hold and show and think, I think the visual, that's super important. So you can't, even though we've all moved into a digital age and everything's so efficient online, this is something I really believe, just from hearing you share, you have to be able to see it, and then they have to be able to see it.
Right, and it adds value, that tangibility. The other thing is that even if you do it all on PowerPoint, you do it all digitally, and let's say you use Floor Planner and all of those other elements of it, you still print it and give it to them, and now that's going to go in their purse. And they're going to work the next day, or they're going to lunch with the girls. Trust me, it's coming out of their purse. Yeah. And she is now marketing Sandra or myself or you, whoever it is. Make it easy for your clients to sell you. The other thing that we do, like Sandra was showing the colors that they chose. The other thing that we do is we will create a color ring for a client, using like these big 8x10 samples or the smaller ones. Put it on a ring with a piece of cardstock on the front of it that says, custom color created for, bless you, Jenny Nora's living room, designed by, it's going to have all of my contact information. And if you do this in, like a 4x4 square on the ring. The other thing that I've used before is I've had ribbon done that is personalized with my company name. And so I tie it up with that. Again, it goes in their purse. I can't tell you how many jobs I have received because my clients had their little fabric samples out or color samples out, and they were at Home Goods shopping with their little samples. And someone said, "Where did you get those?" And there's my name and information right there. The client, the prospective client snaps a picture and calls me. So make it easy for your client to market you. You always have to be thinking that next step. One other thing too, Jenny, you had asked about how do you market it. If you are doing a realtor presentation or you're stopping at a realtor office, do not just give them your business card. Your business card should have something attached to it. So for example, this one may have 5 front door colors curated by JoAnne Lenart. Now, when I give it to the client, she's going to pull it up. This is free, kids. Now, the other thing that you could do is attach something to it that says, if you have our book, we have all the measurements in there, the Decorator's Resource Guide. Maybe you do something in a small format that you attach to your business card that talks about common rug sizes or furniture sizes or lamp sizes. Again, it's attached to your card. Your card just got more valuable. That realtor or whoever you're talking to is going to be more apt to share it with people or pull it out as reference. It's all about establishing your expertise, and it's part of how you cash in on color and decorating.
You could even print it on your card, because I'm thinking like if you have it attached, they could rip your card up, but if you have it on the back, like print a separate business card for this purpose, then they have to put your card.
Yeah, but there's something about that extra thickness of something attached, more than your business card will do. There's a tangibility, again, to this, that they are going to keep. My business card just got more important to them. And then again, if you can put a piece of cardstock in here, have a label that says, JoAnne Lenart's favorite front door colors and have 6 samples. Think about what you have and how you can market yourself, because staging can be very lucrative. But like you said, Jenny, there's an ebb and flow as there is to everything. So there's lots of ways to make money in this industry. You just have to let the world know that you're available for them.
Now, Sherwin-Williams, when they come, so I just wanted to touch on you talked the little booklet for them. They actually have you seen their, they give their booklets where you can actually put the paint colors in and you can brand it. I haven't actually picked a lot of those up there. I know they're free, complimentary. I don't know if they're branded with their information. They probably have theirs somewhere. Yeah, I think it'd be very cool. I don't know where they make those, but I think it'd be very cool to almost come up with something like that you could, whether it's a pocket folder or something.
I'll say what I did. I did a charity event 8 years ago, and it was the first time I did this. And I went to Dollar Tree. I got this small, I don't know, this kind of 5x4 photo album, and it said family in the front. And I just slipped my business card in front of that. So that looked like it was a nice kind of padded cutout kind of thing. I put what JoAnne said. I put the measurements that matter. And then the second slot, I put standard furniture measurements. And then when I got to that point for the Oprah moment in the workshop, I said, now this is where you could take these 4x4s, cut them in half. So if it's for your living room, you would stick these colors in slot number 1. And if it's another room, and then you're not carrying that baggie full of all these loose fabric samples, you could cut a piece of fabric. So 8 years later, I was just in my hometown, and I see this lady, and she goes, look, I still carry this. And I was like, for $1, 8 years worth of marketing, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So think smart and think beyond and think about the unexpected. So, you know, we're in this world of making everything streamlined and digital, and that's wonderful. But like you said, there are times when just something tangible in your hand really works. Another thing that we do is you can get these 8x10s from Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore, anyone else. Create, for a staging standpoint, create your own staging color palette that maybe will have 20 strips in here. Again, cardstock on the front. And now when you go out for a staging project, you're going to have in here your warms, your cools, your grays, your beiges, a black, a navy, and, you know, maybe your colors of the year. And you now walk in and you have this. You don't need that big sample, but it also eliminates someone saying, oh, I don't like Sherwin-Williams. I don't like Benjamin Moore. This is just simply color. And from a design standpoint, obviously, you're not going to limit yourself to 20 samples, but again, anything you can do tangible. When Sandra and I do a color consultation, we go home, we go online to our Sherwin-Williams account, we order these 8x10s, and we have them sent directly to the client. And then I also, let's say we're using Oyster Bay. I can't figure out this mirror image. Let's say we're using Oyster Bay. That's what I've recommended to the client. I'm going to order the value above and the value below. And then I'm going to send them, and I say to the client, you're going to get a package in the mail in the next 5 to 7 days, and it will be a bigger sample of your paint color. Now you can do your own boards, but this is easy peasy. And again, what happens, they drop those samples in their handbag, they take them to work and say, look what color I'm painting my dining room, and look what color I'm painting my living room. And now people are saying, well, who helped you with that? How did you get those samples? So cashing in is all about everything that you do. We just focus on the process so often, and we want to think about how we can always make
leverage
it marketing. Yeah, leverage it. Absolutely.
You could. So, and by the way, so when people are ordering from Sherwin-Williams, these other places, it doesn't cost any money to order those to be sent. You could even have them sent to your house. You could put your information on it and then deliver to the client, so you can brand them. So it's genius. But I love that whole extension of it's not just one and done. It's like, you know, it could be a year from now, 2 years, they're going to be remember you and call you back. And I love that idea of the photo album, something where they have it. They're going to save that because it has all their colors, And there's your
Yes.
information branded on there, which is really the key. So who are they going to call when they need additional help or they want to make changes? They're going to call you. I wrote down here, so let's see. How do you know? I always ask this question. How do you know what they like? Because that you're decorating DNA, darn near always. I know what I like, and I don't want to force it on them. So the colors, for example, Sandra, that they picked, I wouldn't pick those colors, and I don't know if you like those colors, but how did they decide? Did you do that whole thing with the color thing that JoAnne teaches about what I like blue, what shade of blue, the saturated, and you narrow it down?
So we did. In fact, that, guys, is just so great for helping zero in on your client. And because in this case, you have nothing that's dictating. There's no inspiration piece. There's no flooring in the house. We'd already picked that out. So you can see if they're going to be drawn to, oh, sorry, I picked up the wrong one. If they're going to be drawn to these saturated colors that we see so many times in our staging. Can you see? Yeah, I'm like JoAnne now. This is
neutrals.
Yeah.
Do you ever have a client where you just know what they're picking is going to look hideous? Do you ever tell them that's not?
So like you said, I may not have picked these colors for myself, and I can't say that I have had that many clients recently that have picked such vibrant, saturated colors. But I did say to them, you've picked these colors. Are you planning to sell this house anytime soon?
Right.
And they aren't. However, we made those pops of color, that palette that they picked, in the things that could be replaced. So their sofa, yes, it is a blue, and it's a little bit, but hey, you can work with that in staging.
Yeah.
So there's nothing. So these other kind of pops are in pillows, and if the chair, doesn't work, which it will when we stage it. So I think what's so important too is understanding the colors and what palettes can play together. Because if my clients pick these vibrant colors and I don't know enough to keep them in the right two palettes that can play together, then I've screwed it up for them. So just knowing what can play together. But yeah, this is their home, their dwelling versus selling. So I'm going to give them what they want, but I'm going to give them what they want in the right palettes and the right harmony. And
so what about the permanent colors? Like if they go, I want to paint that reddish orange color in my bedroom. Do you go, well, you're never going to sleep then? I mean, do you give them advice on that?
I will give them advice, and I will, if you can find that common ground we talk about, I will tell you, my client's always Mary. I'll tell you, Mary, I had a house we bought, and it was this intense orange on the ceiling and pink on the wall. And it was my daughter's room, and she thought, oh, I can live with this. I love it. It's bold. And I'm going to tell you, after 3 days, even she couldn't sleep in it. So I would try and tell them the story, but if you're following the guidelines of the palettes and then putting it up there and letting your client live with it and seeing it different times of the day, they're going to know whether they can handle it. And at the end of the day, if they want that god-awful color, and you have done your job by pointing out to them that it is deep. I mean, like I said, I had a colorblind client, and the wife is in agreement. So we're going dark. We're going bold.
Well, and I think what's important, what Sandra also realized, is that she had to mix values. So first of all, she went with a deeper saturation, and but she also knew that she had to go up and down in value. So understand the power by changing out the values like she did. That created contrast because she had lights and she had deeper values. So that created the interest. So he may still not necessarily see the color, but he sees the contrast. So this is a case where Sandra really listened to what her client said. And yet, like she said, she understood the whole concept of complete versus compete. And we all know that's my mantra, and the mantra for the new alliance as well. So understanding the difference between, what will complete and what will compete is critical when it comes to color.
And remember, the wall and the floor, as JoAnne just pointed out, is a lighter value. So we can get away with an accent chair that's darker and a pillow that's fun because, you have 60% of that room. Remember our 60-30-10 we've talked about. We've got 60% of that room that is, I call it that breathable space. oh, okay, we can breathe when we look at the wall. But okay, that chair is like, oh, so.
And again, it goes back to the client's DNA. I mean, I have done projects before that I remember one client a number of years ago, she adored color, and she was in what we call palette A, which is as vibrant as you can possibly get. But that's what made her happy. And she was a color consultant, a wardrobe color consultant. And when we were done, it looked fabulous. And it was her studio space. And she said to me, I couldn't live with this every day, but I want people coming into my studio and say, excuse me, remember it and say, boy, you need to go see Sandy. So she understood the purpose, and we were trying to really drive home the power of color. So now when she came in, her studio had different spaces. We had done one space in very vibrant blues, very cool blues. We did another space in warm tones, and then we did a room in neutrals. And so she had such a good eye that when her clients came in, she already knew where they were going to look best. So she's going to take them to the room that they looked best in and do their color test, because already they say, oh my gosh, I look really good in these colors, because she was smart enough to understand the power of color. Another really good tool that many of you may know of is the Color Muse. Now, blending technology with good old-fashioned talent and know-how and experience, you can't miss with that combination. And if you walk in with a little handy tool like this, it will make you look like you're cutting edge. I mean, like we all know, Jenny, what am I, 84, 86? I don't know, it changes every time I tell the story. But when I walk in at my age and I have technology with me, I just made myself more relevant. So for those of you that do not know how to use it, the Color Muse, you're just going to charge it on your, wherever you can plug in your USB, and it has a cap on it. You're going to download the app, and again, trying to figure out which way to move my hand. You're going to download the app onto your phone. You then will take the cover off. It may ask you to calibrate it, and on the inside of the cover, you can see it's white. And so you'll put that on, your phone will say it's calibrated. Now you're simply going to put this on. So let's say you go into a client's house and the walls were painted 3 years ago and she has no idea what it is. You can measure the color by laying this up against the color. You push the button, it's going to spit out to you. This is closest to Benjamin Moore's blah, 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 Sherwin-Williams blah, Bear's blah, Donna Edwards blah. Do not buy the Sherwin-Williams only version of this. Buy the full version. It's $59 on Amazon. And Sherwin-Williams, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but you want to be able to have those different paints. You'll get a tick list and you can say, I just want Sherwin-Williams colors, and that's all it will load for you. But this is a great tool. The other thing that it will do, in our color class, Sandra and I do an exercise that is measuring color. The idea is to help you to hone your eye. And we all see color differently when we look at the color. But your normal is what's going to work. When you use this, what you want to do is you might test a few times. You want 3 matches. If it says 3 times, this looks like a new gray, it's like, okay, I'm safe to say a new gray. So like where Sandra said, match that color sample, those fabric samples, this would be a good tool for you to use. And for $59, you can't go wrong. And I wish I had an affiliate link, because I know a bunch of you right now. Oh, Karen said I'm 87. Thank you, Karen. Because I'm 87. I forgot how old I was. But
so do you ever find JoAnne using that?
Will help. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So do you ever find using that? Because I do have one. I got one for Lauren, and so I used it like the outside of a garage door. So I put it on there and I got it arranged. But then depending on how the lighting was, that I went to another part of the garage that gave me a different color. So what would you advise in that situation?
So I would maybe do it, multiple times, 5, 6 times, until you can get some continuity. And the one thing that, lighting without color or without light, there is no color. But the bottom line is, as I always say to my clients, there may be times of day that this color is going to change for you. Wait 3 minutes. The color lighting is so fleeting. But like that, when you're measuring, Jenny, what I would say is, what do I have to match to? If I'm trying to match to the garage and the front is what I'm going to see more, then that's where I'm going to focus. Because at some point in time, those colors will look a little more alike. But you're right. If the garage, one side has western exposure or southern exposure, it probably has faded. But this can be a good tool, but you got to use it. I mean, you have to get adept at it. And the bottom line is, always go back to what your eyes will tell you. And there's a lot of other things in here that formulas that you can use, lab numbers and all of that, and that can really help you. But it's a good thing to add to your toolkit.
So talk about how do people get the education? You have the color course, we have the one-day decorating, we have the redesign. So let's talk about how people can attend and take, and what are we going to do, online, in person?
Okay, so they can join us. We do not have our 2020 schedule up. That will be done by the end of the month. I do know we will be in Fort Lauderdale. We set that up at the IHOSP conference. I know Sandra is planning on coming to Denver, and so she can talk to you, Jenny, about some dates that are good. We have the online version of the class, but the one thing that we are going to do is the 1st of January, we're going to launch a special color class for IHOS that will be the color class with a bonus module that will talk about color in staging that we do not do currently in our class. So again, I'll send you the link. You can put Perfect. It here, and your members will get that. And we'll have some kind of early bird pricing for that. Couple of other things too to keep in mind when we were talking about one-day decorating. Look at some of these other tools that are out there for you from a one-day decorating. Jenny, have you used any of the self-stick wallpapers yet?
I know about it. I have not used them.
They are wonderful. Now, there are some that are real cheap and chintzy and are like putting up sticky tissue paper. But this is a project that I had done recently. There's a buffalo check that goes to it. And then this is a self-stick vinyl flooring. So it peels off. It can go on top of the floor. Now, this is good for staging. It's good for one-day decorating. It's how in-depth does your client want to be? And this is where you're going to bring in tradespeople. So, what you do is as big or as little as what you want it to be. But take advantage of some of these quick fix decorating tools that are out there. Little bit of learning curve to putting this up, but I think by the time I hung one strip, I went, oh, okay, all right. And
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Don't you wish you would invent it?
Yes, I do.
I mean, I'm thinking I remember the little dolls we used to play with, like you had the little kittles or whatever, and you peel the clothes off and put them on. You could change.
Yeah.
I mean, how none of us thought about we could put that on the wall. I mean, it's amazing. And when I was in was it Vegas in July, there was the people with the floor stuff, and they had like area rugs that look like floors. You could cover up a lot of really ugly, and it's you can walk on it. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a solution to be able to change, but it's not permanent. And they were thinking like people who live in apartments, you move into some, apartment that has like a gross floor, some old vinyl, you put this over it and you have this whole new look. Yes. And they were I think they were from Europe, this company, but I was amazed. I'm thinking like the progression of this, the adhesives and this transformation, but it's not a permanent thing. It's amazing.
Right. Yeah, this peels right off. It doesn't hurt the walls. If you're doing a staging and you want to add a pop of color, have some of this, put it in the back of a bookcase, or imagine in a kitchen area where they have the glass doors, to put something like this on the back. And it's available in so many colors and patterns, but I promise you, it peels right off the walls, and it doesn't hurt a thing.
Does it stick to brick?
Well, the thing is, yes, it would stick to brick, but
Is it-
whatever is behind it, it's going to telescope. So just like regular wallpaper does. So if your walls are not flat, they have a textured finish, be it brick or just a textured finish on the wall, you're going to see that in here. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's a negative. You know, I mean, you put some on and you try it and say, do I like the look of it? So I love anything that can give me quick fixes. I'm addicted to quick changes and things that make my clients smile when they come in the door and unexpected things. So this is a great way to add that element.
If you have a relationship with the decal people, we should get that information. I don't know if you have like a, portal that people could go through, or you provide that to students, whatever, so they could, I don't know if they could set up an account themselves, but I'm thinking of, if you already have the resources, we could share that and then drive the purchase power.
That's a great idea. And we can talk about that. So far, I've used all retail resources, but if I had a design studio again, I would be using companies like York and some of the others. And, when I had my design studio, I always had my own wallpaper books, fabric books, and whatever. So if you have that, and I don't know, Jenny, do we have time to speak to that at all?
Sure, yeah, we have a few minutes because I wanted JoAnne to talk about that, because as we talk about different niches, we happen to be moving into a warehouse this week, and so one of the spaces will be a design center type thing. I thought, well, what do you put in there? How do you get the catalogs? What are the top 5 things you should have to be able to provide to clients? And so JoAnne said she could share on that.
So the one thing for me that I always had was fabric samples. And if you are starting out, I would encourage you to get at least 3 different fabric companies. Now, if you're getting fabric books in there, there usually is a fee. You have so much in sales, and it will, you can be reimbursed at the end of the year. Sandra, don't you have some kind of a code for greenhouse?
Hold on one sec.
Okay.
Oh, baby barking.
Her puppy is barking.
It's all right.
Someone must be at the door.
The fabric sample, you have to pay for those. How much do the fabric sample books usually cost?
Lexi, stop.
So the greenhouse program, I believe their startup is like $150 or $199, and you can start getting some. So if you're not doing anything with fabrics now, it is a great profit margin. Whether you're doing standard panels, doing some light upholstery, doing pillows, anything that you can do to customize it. The other thing is I would have relationship with some companies like, let me just grab this real quick. My one moment. So I have relationships with companies where I can design my own fabrics. This is Weave Up. And so you can see they have over 1,600 colors. I could hand draw something. I could design something online. I could hire someone to do something, and then they could print my own textiles. If you wanted to do something personal for a client, or even kind of a signature look for staging, these kind of companies can be great. Spoonflower is another company that does something similar. So Weave Up is kind of the new kid on the block, and Jenny, you and I can talk about that.
Who did the what was that company? What's that called?
This is called Weave Up. So this is yeah. So
that's the whole color palette.
Yeah, this is their whole color palette here. So I can go in and select whatever I want and custom design a pattern for my client. Now, the other things that you should have in your design studio or design center, if you're starting small, Sandra's going to show you some things there.
Well, I just think it's good to even get if you didn't get to go to market, Vegas or High Point or in Atlanta, Atlanta's book that is your reference. You can go and get some of their top, top vendors and pick the ones you want. If you don't, I'm like JoAnne, I think you should always have a couple of fabrics, couple wallpapers. I mean, I bumped into a great wallpaper company. They were in, you have the open air kind of showrooms where they have about 50 in one spot. So even getting this book and starting to check them out if you're new, that kind of gives you a good place to start. And we always share our top ones, especially art and but those custom. I love what you said, JoAnne. We were talking about curating. It's when you say I've curated something for you, your client is already going to pay you more for it, but they're also going to love the fact that you are doing that for them, that you have the ability to do that. And those resources. That's what I gave in that PowerPoint for my clients this weekend. I gave them 3 pages of resources for them to go look at some art. Now they can't see the prices, but that also helps us get this project complete so we can move on to another one.
Right. So the catalogs, when you register for the vendor program, they will send the catalogs and up till now, but prior to me knowing I was going to have this warehouse space, I didn't really save the catalogs. They take up space. I'm like, I would throw away. Well, oh my God, because they're big. And so, but now I'm thinking I want to save those. Like for example, I got this when we went to, this is just one. We went to Las Vegas in July. So this is Yosemite Decor. So they do artwork and accessories and so forth. And we're looking to get them as a vendor partner, but they have, the different furniture. So certainly next time Daylin, Universal, Diamond Stuff, when they send me their catalogs, I'm going to be saving all of those. Coaster. And I probably could email the company and ask the rep to please drop some off to me now that they know that we have this. And those are complimentary because they know that we're going to be selling their product.
Right. And also, Jenny, every company has a digital version. So in your design center or design studio, and if you have a warehouse, cash in on that space, appropriate a space where you can meet with a client there if you're going to expand into this other service. But you could also have a designated laptop or PC sitting there with this big screen that you can access all the catalogs right there. And also creating like curated packages for your client, have your own signature look that you might say, here's a combination. We pick some, you want to make sure your clients don't get overwhelmed by looking. If you have samples, they are of no good to you if you have not taken time to get to know them. I remember years ago when I first went to work at a wallpapering and painting and custom window treatment store. It was one of my very early retail jobs in the industry. And I can remember walking in, and this is when wallpaper was in its heyday. And I thought, oh my God, I don't even know where to look. And in a very short period of time, if someone came in and says, I want country and geese, because that's where we were at that time. How did we live through that? I do not know. But it was like, I knew I was pulling Bayberry prints and, York books. And I knew exactly. So if you're bringing in samples and creating a design center, don't just have a bunch of filler in your store. Know how to work them, because that adds to your expertise. So Jenny, we can come to Denver and we can help you set up your design center there.
I'd love that. That'd be great. Well, I just love talking to both of you. We could talk for a whole nother hour, I know. And and our time unfortunately is up. But this is such a great topic. We'll have to revisit it. So everybody watching, January 1st, they'll be rolling out the color and adding the staging element for color. That class will be rolled out. So we'll get that information out to everybody, as well as the other courses that they're offering on the one-day decorating, the redesign, the color courses. These are also important. And because I heard a lot of people, not only at our conference, but even where I was over the weekend, talking about how the market has shifted. And I'm seeing this online too, that, if you normally had a certain volume of projects to bring the money in, if your market has taken a little dip, and you're like, where am I going to get the money? Holiday decorating. We didn't get to talk about that. So I have to have you.
You know what?
Next week we talk about decorating for the holidays, because people are lining that up right now if they haven't already done that, and how you can cash in on that aspect of it to turn that into money. And it's not just Christmas, right? It could
It's
be
all year long.
Yeah.
Oh,
In
yeah.
fact, Jenny, if you want to offer, we'll give everybody a special if you want. Let's just make the password 2020.
Okay.
And the seasonal decorating, it's a certified class. It's only online. It's normally $295. We will do it until December the 15th for $195. So that is, and I'm sorry if you're on this and you've already paid more, but you can watch it again. So
Right.
so that's just a good additional revenue stream, like you said.
Absolutely.
And then that way, everybody listening gets a little perk today.
Right. That'd be great. And so, so send that info to me. We'll get that pushed out to everybody, because that would be awesome for people to know what to do. So I think that's probably the biggest stumbling block. People want to do it. They don't know what to do. How do I get started?
Right.
How do I promote myself? So
Right.
well, thank you both so much for being on. I really appreciate it.
My
And so everybody
pleasure.
watching, we'll see you next week. We'll have another great show for you. I don't know who's going to be on yet, but we'll make sure it's a good one. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure to share this with everybody. Thank you, JoAnne. Thank you, Sandra. Always appreciate seeing you both. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.